Hi, welcome. In this video, we'll see how to enable transaction support in API Gateway 2.0, specifically when working with backend Nonstop services. Now, before we dive in, here's an important point. Whenever API Gateway starts a transaction, it automatically integrates it with Nonstop TMF, the transaction management facility. That means the transaction context flows all the way through to your backend Nonstop services. So whether you commit or roll back, it happens consistently across the entire service chain. To demonstrate this, I'm using a customer creation backend Nonstop service. The logic is simple. If the customer doesn't exist, it creates a new one. If the customer already exists, it sends back an error response. I'm assuming you are already familiar with creating projects and working with integration YAML files, so I'll focus specifically on enabling transaction support. Now let's open the integration.camel.yaml file. Here, I have exposed the backend customer service through a REST API. There's a post endpoint for creating customers, and it's mapped to the route we are about to enhance. Here's the basic flow. First, we convert the incoming JSON into the required DDL format. Then we call the backend Nonstop service using the invoke Nonstop service sync kamelet. After receiving the response, we use the DTL response choice component to route the flow based on success or error scenarios. Now here's what we want to do. Enable transaction support by explicitly beginning a transaction and then either committing or rolling it back depending on the scenario. There is a simpler built-in method. You can set the transaction mode directly in the Nonstop service sync kamelet. Options include requires new, which always starts a new transaction per request, and never, which ensures a transaction is not started. However, the approach I am showing today gives you far more control. You get to decide exactly where the transaction starts and exactly when it commits or rolls back. So let's implement it. The first step is to begin the transaction. Before the convert JSON to DTL kamelet, I'll add the begin transaction kamelet. This ensures a new transaction is created at the start of each request entering this route. Next, we handle the response. For the success path, when the customer is created, I'll add the commit transaction kamelet. For the error path, when customer already exists or any other issue occurs, I'll add the rollback transaction kamelet. This ensures that any partial changes are safely done. To recap, here's what we achieved. We enabled full transaction support for our API route by explicitly starting the transaction and adding commit and rollback logic. Because everything is integrated with the Nonstop TMF, the transaction context flows all the way through to your backend Nonstop services. That means you get consistent atomic operations across your entire workflow. This is a powerful capability, specifically when your backend operations depend on strong data integrity. Thanks for watching.